Is this live? Okay, good. So, anyways, we were talking about how they're finally bringing pooping to Star Citizen. That's great. I'm looking forward to that. So maybe we'll talk about that next weekend. It'll be great.
Yeah, but with the new system, you can't share your poop, so there's no poop looting.
No, we're just talking about shit tier, like
Yeah.
gameplay ideas. So not actually about shit, but
Shit
like
tier.
good ideas.
Oh, I get it.
Ideas.
Oh,
Yep.
I get it. I
So,
didn't get it at first. I was like, oh man, tier 0 poop sharing is disabled.
yeah, you can't do that. So hello and welcome to Griefers Pub. Tonight we'll be discussing the implementation of item recovery, Tier 0 arriving to Alpha 4.1 and its potential impacts on gameplay. Nobody's excited about this one. I'm not either. But do you mind if we take a look at those patch notes, Elder? I'm just going to post this into chat. So if you guys want to like read along, because I can't read, somebody else is going to have to do it for me.
It's true. He can't read.
I can't. So this is Alpha 4.1, which is currently in Wave 1 at the moment. So there is access, but it's, from what I understand, pretty buggy at the moment. I mean, what do you expect? It's like the first few days too. The one that really caught a lot of attention and has been like a subject of just
Contention.
discussion and contention, arguments, everything. We can take off Jack X. And by the way, he is unfortunately not here with us this week.
Oh shoot. Well, a man can dream.
Me too. I love hanging out with Jack.
Jack.
Great. I'm going to just pin this so we don't forget where that's at. Looks like everybody's saying awful. I can't loot anyone. I think it's kind of a weird way to bring in like a new system. So what it is, we're going to just read it really quick. Introducing the first implementation, Tier 0 of item recovery, a long-awaited system that gives players more control over their gear after death. This Tier 0 initial implementation of item recovery will have players respawn with the exact gear they had equipped at the time of death, minus stored items in their backpacks and their pockets. So anything that's actually within the character's like inventory, like internally, that wipes. Everything else stays. Upon your death.
Okay, so that's tier 0. So
that's tier 0. Correct. Okay. I don't know what tier 1 looks like, but there is a second article that we can probably get some more information on in just a second. It does say, upon death, you respawn with your entire loadout, including mags and weapons, med pens, but not your inventory.
So you will lose anything in your pockets or backpack. So when they say mags, weapons, and med pens, it's obviously anything attached to your armor. So correct, basically, they're saving anything that's directly connected to your armor. Does that mean your backpack is saved, but the loot inside the backpack isn't? That's what I wonder.
Precisely, because that's attached. Yep, exactly that.
That makes sense.
It says your armor and weapon is then fused to your corpse, so it would have a blocked interaction, preventing looting, indicated with a red icon and tooltip. On death, held weapon is moved to available holster to be fused with corpse. I don't like that idea either. It kind of makes me think of is when they used to have like the global inventory, and you could you had no internal storage, but you would use the mobiGlas to attach anything onto your character from like any location.
I like that you bring up the global inventory, because I haven't even considered that fact. By the way, if anyone wants to kind of like jump in and have the discussion with us, we're open for that. Feel free to jump into the Discord and jump into the waiting list, and we'll pull you into the Discord and we can kind of like talk about it as well. So just FYI. But so you mentioning the global inventory system really makes me think about how they removed global inventory, right, to do more localized, right? They did that to create a sense of realism, and they're trying to push it to a point of realism where you even so much as do the action of putting your helmet on, right? They want to increase the realism of the game where you're at some point you're only going to be able to fly with like basically a flight suit, and you'd have to equipped armor and items that you can't wear while you're sitting in like a single pilot seat, right? So they're trying to increase all these like different aspects of realism, and then the whole global inventory system really makes more sense with what they're doing with the tier 0 here, honestly.
Yeah.
Because what's the purpose of adding that realism and doing localized inventories when at the same time the inventory is not something like lootable on a body in front of you? It doesn't, to me it seems like a contradiction.
It does, yeah. It's like it's a major step backwards from the initial vision that we'd seen, from global to local to physicalized items. It seemed like they had a concrete idea of like where they were going with the extraction shooter, and those mechanics coming into play with the contested zones, and then seeing them kind of double back almost to some degree. Again, this is just tier 0, so I don't think it's super like well polished, but there's a lot of stuff that just, again, like you said it perfect actually, contradictory. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So
Well, we're just
ammo,
griefers, so it doesn't really make a difference.
they don't, our opinion doesn't matter. Ammo, med pens, grenades, along with anything in your inventory backpack would be lootable by you or other players.
Oh,
And there is like an in-depth like look at this. Xylo posted this, I think it was last week.
just a note.
Um, yeah,
So what is it? I mean, sure, you can get some items from a backpack, but like there's already, like, even armor was the closest thing to being maybe valuable items. I think that
yeah.
maybe you'll get something you don't normally have, you won't have. And
Hmm.
there's no other items that are of real value, right? I mean, as of yet, I know it's in the States app, but so what is it you're looting in the backpack that's really even going to make a difference, right? So
I
like,
mean, maybe they have like additional weapons or maybe some like gems or something, but for the most part, I agree. It doesn't make a
yeah.
lot of sense.
I used to
Yeah,
start.
try to
I used
pick up.
to start off too. Like I sometimes I start off my night with just literally the starter suit, the sperm suit,
Hmm.
and I would make it a goal where anyone that I pirated, killed, whatever,
Yep.
I would end the night with their armor. So
Yeah.
that kind of removes that loop as well.
You could totally like wear it as like a trophy at that point. It was
Yeah.
your earned item that you got through PvP. And now, I mean, considering how bad, the state of piracy is and everything else, it's going to be especially difficult to have any motivation to try and like take somebody out knowing, oh, most of their items they can just reclaim, or we don't get to keep that anymore. You can't look at someone that has like a fancy sub armor helmet and be like, you know what, that could be mine. Kill
Yeah.
them. It's like any MMO, like RPG, you see like a really cool like suit on someone in like the Elder Scrolls, and you're just like, you know what, I could have that. Take it by force. You remove that like player agency more or less. This is kind
Mhm.
of a little bit of a breakdown. By the way, we do have Arky and Voice. I'm gonna drag them in just a second.
Sure.
So summary, if you didn't want to read everything that was posted there, items equipped no longer lootable. Items stashed in gear are lootable. No consequences to death, pretty much. You can like Zerg Rush and pretty much use that as a tactic. And upon death, players will revive with all equipped items still intact on character. And they still haven't combated anything with what do you call it? Duping is still an issue in
Yeah.
the early.
So
Yeah.
it feels like they used duping as basically the scapegoat for doing this, to like not rile people up too much. Oh, well, we want to make sure we're stopping duping from happening. Um,
That's not going to
I
work.
watched,
No, no.
yeah, and I watched Mike's response to that too, and he's like, "Why? The economy doesn't exist anyway." So like, I
Right.
get like you
Exactly.
don't want to allow duping, but first of all, there's no real economy.
Hmm.
So people are duping for money that really doesn't really do anything anyway, right? Money, it just doesn't make a difference. Um,
Yeah.
so like I mean, the problem with duping is that there's no consequence anyway for death. So it makes it easy to dupe. There's no consequence for loss of ship, whatever. So
Yeah.
what the hell? Why? So that's your excuse for? I don't buy it. I don't think. I think
It
that's
seems
just
like
a scapegoat.
it is a scapegoat. 100%. It feels like it.
Hmm.
I don't know how else to say it. It seems like poor reasoning for implementing such a game breaking, mechanic, right?
Yeah.
I can't justify it. I mean, I tried to put together a pros list. I try to be constructive, but really, I can't. I can't. It's pretty bad. Do you mind if I drag an Arky? I know it's pretty late where they are, and we can just discuss a few things as we're
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
along.
Bring Arky in.
Okay, we'll do. Hey, what's up, Arky? Here, let me turn you up there. What was you had a few things that you wanted to bring up, I think. I think we're all kind of feeling like a little bit ranty about this because of the recent, news that they brought with 4.1.
Yes. So yeah. So they decided to bring out they decided to try out this tier 0 implementation.
Mhm.
Where I can only presume, but what happened was the economy team decided to sit down in a boardroom and went, "All right, what sort of economy do we want to build?" And then someone must have stood up and said, "I've got an idea. Let's have no economy. Let's just get rid of all the economy we've done so far." And rather than
Pretty
throwing
much.
pens at the guy, they went, good idea."
I would assume that's probably not too far from the truth. It
But I
feels
mean,
accurate.
it's
Yeah.
yeah,
What's
it's
that? Oh,
not
you know,
fun.
Aki, you made me think of that comic. You know, it was going around for a while. It was like a meme, like probably like a year ago, where like they're sitting in a boardroom and they're like, "What can we do to fix this problem?" And then somebody suggests something that's logically like makes sense, and they throw them out the window. That's what you made me think of.
Yeah, yeah. This is exactly that. It's insanity. So what they've decided to do is, rather than come up with any decent solution that has any thought behind it, they've just decided to go with the path of least resistance, which means that they're removing more or less the only economy they've added into the game so far.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be real. I mean, I think the devs, the majority of the devs really don't like the whole idea of PvP, and they realistically think that we're just like damaged goods, and they're trying to slowly push us out of the game or something.
It does feel like
Yeah.
that, yeah. With
I mean,
every like small push and change that we see with the patches,
Yeah,
I don't even know what's going on in there, because this is it's complete reversal of what they promised in 3.15. They're like, oh yeah, it's going to become a looter shooter now. You're going to be able to loot people and get their stuff, and it's like, no loot.
It shows how
unless you want to grab
Yeah.
someone's backpack full of cruise looks, you can't get any decent loot from them anymore.
If they wanted to treat, sorry, if they wanted to treat an just bearded blank. First of all, can we ban bearded? Just kidding. They wanted to treat an alpha like an alpha, right? If that's the case, then they could have people spawning with those items still, or have a retrievable system or an insurance system, whatever. But allow the items to still be retrievable off the bodies by the person who, earned it, right?
Yeah.
I don't. What's the purpose? I don't understand the purpose of making it an unlootable item to begin with. That makes it worse. Like, they could have gone both ways, at least, in my opinion. Right?
Yeah. I had some like sort of hashed out solutions. So one of which is just never sell physical gear, because that was a idiotic idea, really.
It was a great idea for the marketing team, maybe, but it was a bad idea overall. I think personally, I think that what they were doing, and I know you have more points, but I think personally what they were doing was they were trying to kind of follow that direction they were going, where that makes people feel like they physically own the item, just like they do with the ships. So they were trying to like stick with I think that same kind of feel to it, like, oh, you own the armor. But realistically, it really is just armor with skin. The same armor that's in game.
But genuinely with in-game armor, unlike ships, I just don't care if I own it or not. I have a million Karnas, and whenever I die, I just pick up the nearest kit that I can get. I know what I want to buy in all of the pyro stations. It's normally Morozov helmets and then the Lynx legs, and that's just my kit sorted. So it's not precious to me, the kit. And then they've added the P8s into the loot pool, so P8s aren't really that precious anymore. Because I never used a P8 in the PU before they added them into the loot pool, because I was scared of losing them, so I wouldn't bring it. I wouldn't bring it anywhere unless I was with a big enough group, which I haven't been since 4.0. But now I've just now I can just choose my favorite looking P8 and then just bring it around with me.
It's crazy how that like quickly changed, to that like large of a.
Mm.
I don't know. This is such a weird thing to, release contested zones where you have this high risk, high reward situation.
Yeah.
And then along with that, it's going to feel like the beginning of 4.0. Do you remember when, if like say I died in Rune Station, I could just backspace, everything would disappear, including my body.
You can still do that. Depending
You can
on the
still do that,
location.
yeah.
There's a couple
Right.
locations, and you know that there's a bug where you can respawn due to a bug in the system. You can respawn with all your gear.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Well, I was
Mhm.
fighting someone in Rune Station, and I bested them. And then I noticed as I was slinking off into my little hole to catch the next person, they had a Pyam Morozov helmet. You know, the one that looks really, really cool with the
Yeah.
the visor. So I
Yep.
thought, ooh, I'm taking that. So I go up
Mhm.
to them, and then their body vanishes because they're using that
poof.
bug.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's awful.
And that's what it's going to feel like. It's going to feel actually no, it's going to feel worse than that because instead of the body vanishing, you're just gonna be able to stare at all of the cool stuff that you can't have.
You mean like this is
I know,
this
right?
is like it's a fucking like they're teasing us, at that point.
Yeah.
Where you can't actually grab anything that seems worthwhile because as soon as you click on that body, you're gonna have that little like crossed out circle saying, "Hey, this is unlootable. You cannot do that."
Yeah,
And
you're
I
gonna
don't
see
know.
someone with a P8, the Pyro Morozov helmet, and a
Mhm.
grenade launcher, and it's gonna look super cool. And you go up to him and he goes, "No, no, you're not looting this. You can have their med pens and some crews. That's it. That's all you deserve, you PvPing scum." So it's not
Mhm.
fun.
No. It kills a lot of what we have left for competitive gameplay, and that's saying a lot because there's not much left. Like what's the reason? Like we were just talking about this. Like what's the whole damn reason of like shooting, Elder's character if I can't loot it, right? That's a big, part of like I feel Star Citizen economy is the loot economy. They really, centralize that getting stuff in game is the way to make it big. They really push that like making credits is the way to make it big. So why are we creating a system where you cannot actually loot what you've like keep what you kill pretty much more or less, right? It's weird.
I mean, it's getting AO3s and getting P8s is the reason I saunter into the checkmate contested zone, and now I just need to get it once and that's it.
Yep, it's a one and done kind of situation. It's garbage.
Can we can we start to progress towards the newer tiers too? Because like I want to get to like the dead man switch nonsense and all that stuff, which is somebody said great. Put a dead man switch on a pair of pants is hilarious.
I do have
one.
I do have one more point to go to before that.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
Which is, do you remember 318 PTU? Do you remember that whole saga of the Carrack owner who kept respawning, and there was a photo on Reddit that came up?
Yeah, I remember that.
Like 50 bodies, and then the pirates end up getting reported.
They got reported even though they gave them the option to leave. They kept saying you can leave, so they weren't.
So
that's a problem.
Wait.
Apparently it wasn't the Carrack owner.
It wasn't. It was somebody else that saw the video and then reported him for it. But yeah, regardless, that's going to happen more often now.
That. Yeah, but we take that. Now let's imagine that we have some really, really tiny ship with a respawnable med bed in. One that you can just put in the middle of a Hercules or in the middle of your cat. I don't know. Maybe we call it an Ursa Medivac or something like that. And then you can keep respawning there, and nobody wants to destroy it because doing that would also, like with a 50% chance, grenade the ship you're trying to get cargo off of.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you can keep respawning there with your gun and fuck over the pirates.
It's just pretty much outlasting your enemy.
And if you're in a white suit and you keep getting killed, then great, you can just write your favorite report ticket.
Yeah, but you're spawning back in with a full kit, so every time you do that, it kind of fucks over the person that's like boarding the ship.
Yeah.
Because they have like a full fucking kit.
Hold on. Let me read. Can I read this? Now
Yeah,
people
what's up?
only wear basic shop gear because nobody wants to lose sub gear. Are you really that mad you can't take that basic shit? Are you? Let me ask you something. Are you really that mad that you're not good enough to hold on to your gear? Is that like a problem for you? That's difficult. Is your fucking sub gear? So realistically, no. It's just people are going to be insuring. I don't even think it's going to end up being just sub gear, is it? It's going to be you can insure whatever gear.
All you get.
Oh,
It's
Yeah.
there it
pretty much all
goes.
there it goes. It broke. I was waiting for it.
So no,
One
it's
second.
it's becoming a more and more unrealistic scenario. First of all, it's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care about like half my sub gear, so I really only care about the P8s, and then even
Yeah.
then now because they're in the loot pool, I don't care about them anymore. I mean, half of my sub gear is quite literally light and medium armor, which if you're playing PvP, you know, FPS PvP, you know that is almost certainly not what you want to be wearing anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
The
then the other
fear.
stuff I have is like a Kana, which you can just pick up from half the bodies in the contested zones anyway. And yeah, I'm a P8, which now, if you can run to the end of checkmate, you have an unlimited supply of anyway.
Like, how silly is this? It's like, oh, if it's subscriber gear and it has a dead man switch activated, and then you unlock that, it goes back to it removes the skin of the subscriber gear and turns into the regular armor anyway. That's a hilarious one. This whole idea of it trying to reduce duping. Well, one way you can reduce duping is to actually put into completion the systems that they've been promising for I don't know how many years about like an actual loss and death. You know what I mean? They have from if I remember two sitcoms ago, they were talking about certain attributes that will increase right as you play and stuff like that, and death will start to wean away at those until finally you can't respawn your character at all, and you basically start from scratch again. You know what I mean? So like, how about completing those systems? If this is about reducing duping in a non-existent economy, what's the point? Right.
Well, I think they could reduce duping by making it not viable, really. So, for example, rather than this current system, what if they just insure all of your gear? Say, this is something I just spitballed in like an hour. So you know, you can criticize it, but I thought
that's fine.
Okay, what if all your sub gear, right, all of the gear that is pledged to your account is insured? And then, to make it fair for everyone, when you go to claim it, there's an hour-long timer. And that's more or less a countdown for the player who's killed you, if it is a player that's killed you, to loot it off your body. And if it wasn't a player, if it was a bug and you've fallen through a planet or whatever, it just gives you back that gear straight after the hour. But if you did get looted, then to avoid all the duping, it boosts the timer to 6 hours or something. Or when it realizes that it's been looted from your corpse, because obviously the game can do that. It could probably realize when said gear has been looted. It can say, "Oh, this gear has been looted." So now,
what if, like, say after an hour, if you're wearing the your victim's armor, it just falls off you, like you're suddenly just naked for no reason. There you go. Problem solved.
Perfect idea.
What if sub armor it literally offers nothing other than the skin of it? What if sub armor, first of all, actually offered some better attributes? I don't know.
Well, that would be pay to win.
I still don't know, because I was gonna say, like, yeah, you're right. I mean, but it is pay to win. The game's become more pay to win than it, the days of using skill to destroy players while you're still in your Aurora. You know what I'm saying? Like that, those days are done right now, as it stands now.
I heard that RIP Aurora Squadron, they were the one org that was most impacted by master modes and everything else. Sad day. Moment of silence, please. Anyways, moving on. So
let's go to tier 1 and tier 2 then. Let's
tier 1 and tier 2. I do want to read this really quick. So this is talking about tier 1 looking ahead. While tier 0 lays the groundwork and provides some assurance that your equipped items are not lost, we are actively developing Tier 1 and Tier 2 implementations. These future updates will add more depth to the system, including a viable path for piracy.
We already had one. It was called Tier -1, where you could just loot it off a body.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, there's nothing to lose. Like, there's no risk with these systems. Like, I could try to hold up a player and say, "Hey, give me like 50K or you lose everything," and they could just backspace and not lose anything. They're just out of that situation. You know, like there's no reason for them to stick around.
Well,
Yeah.
I think they mentioned about removing the ability to backspace in certain situations. I don't know, but you're right. I mean,
yeah, let's do it. So Tier 1 loadout and ship registration.
we do
introduce
have
the
Calamity
ability.
in the waiting room, FYI.
Yeah, we'll switch in just a second here. How's that sound?
That's
Tier 1
alright.
will introduce the ability to register your gear in ships at kiosks or ASOP terminals. Port notes personal loadouts. Players can register their equipped items, which can be reclaimed for a fee at specific kiosks or freight elevators. Looting and bricked items. I'm just kind of skipping in this. So this is ships and interiors. So like decorations and locker contents can also be registered. This seems like it's maybe not as bad. Like it's not just a backspace to keep all your shit kind of situation where there is actually like
Wait a minute.
system implemented. But what's up?
Well, I just thought of something. So, can people not take the gear off, give it to somebody else, and then claim it in insurance? Isn't that duping?
Yes, but
There's
the
already a
original
video
gear
out
will-
by what's the Dupe King guy? I forget his name, but he already posted a video in PTU about like duping all of his items, and it's insane. It's crazy.
Oh, okay.
Nah.
So how about this? How about we just all
fuck you.
agree that you don't know what the fuck you're doing?
Yes.
Good,
That's what it
good
sounds
job.
like.
Hey, good job, CIG. You guys are doing a great job. Keep it up. Keep it up. Gonna keep
By the way,
watering it
I'm
down.
accepting offers for
Okay.
my Tier 0 P8AR and Railgun factory.
Tumble says they don't care about armor duping down the line, but they care for it now because it impacts sales. I do agree with that.
That's true. That's true. And that's
I
maybe
think
they-
I think it's also.
I think that's honestly like where the priority is, though. Is
Then-
like
then-
in
then
marketing
say
and
it.
sales, you know.
then say it and stop blowing smoke up our ass. Like
I
say
mean,
it.
no,
What's the
what's
fact?
the
more
chances? What's the chances that it's looting cool helmets impacts sales? Because why
Yeah.
would you pay £5 to get a cool helmet when you can just
Get it
kill
for free.
someone and get it for free?
Agreed.
Yeah. So just FYI to everybody that's watching, in case you're wondering, this game is no longer you supporting a dream of somebody of a small studio trying to build something great. You're now supporting a corporate conglomerate.
It is a
Straight up.
corporate entity.
They're
and it feels more and more like one every
Yeah.
year.
And they're
It's great.
100% being led by their marketing team because at this point it really is just about pulling in money, and I don't even trust it's about pulling in money to pay for the dream project. Now it's just about pulling in money. So that's what the game is turning into. So if you feel like you're supporting something small and great, you're not. Now you're just supporting something that's just like any other fucking it. How is it different from EA? Everybody makes fun of EA. How is it any different?
Yep, we
Tell
saw
me,
where they're
how-
heading. We saw the red flag, so it's not
Yeah.
like really that much of a surprise. I do agree.
Yeah. So just in case
But
you're
it's-
wondering,
It's not
anyone that-
really. It's not an excuse for it, though. Is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say.
anyone
You
that's wondering about playing it and you're curious, just so you know, it's somebody that's trying to suck you dry your money. And the game runs like shit. So FYI on that too.
I mean, it's a big corporation and they've got a finished product. It's just that the game isn't a finished product. The service of selling you ships on the pledge store is a finished product.
Yeah.
And what reason do they have to finish it? I mean, because they keep selling shit by not finishing the game. So
I mean,
they need
probably
to keep it like unfinished so they can actually have something to fund. If it's a finished product that's actually more, I would say, like unfavorable for them as a company.
Yeah.
Because nobody can
I
pump
genuinely
in,
I genuinely think it's a mixture of one, goodwill because they can't keep just banging out money from a dead IP if it dies because it doesn't get finished, but also because probably they can just monetize all of those planetary expansion packs. You wanna go to Seoul? You wanna go to You want to go to the Elysium system and meet all the Tavarin? Well, pay up, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So here was actually something that Tumble's saying that actually I was wondering about too. I haven't read entirely through the tier 2 notes. So it says tier 2 will introduce a way to restore previously bricked items for a price. Looting and bricked items. Once an item is looted, you will have an option to sell it, dismantle it for crafting items, or restore it with the potential cost of crafting materials and credits to make it your own. This system creates a viable path for piracy, allowing you to claim another player's belongings if you have the necessary steps to legitimize ownership.
Well, we've just added in the
Oh, hold on.
current system, but with more steps.
What's the second part of that?
If an item had a cosmetic applied, restoring it will remove the cosmetic in the
Whoa.
process.
So it becomes the armor that you can get anywhere. Oh, okay.
much. Yeah.
So I take the Payam Morozov helmet that I've looted from some poor soul.
It just becomes a basic
I
Morozov.
restore it. It becomes a basic Morozov.
Yeah, literally every
like-
aspect of the game that was like focused on realism is no longer focused on realism. Like they're slowly removing the whole idea of it being realistic. They used to say what, or I guess it was said to be like a space sim, right? It ain't no fucking space sim at all. So
This
where's
is
the
also one of
simulator?
I want more like details before jumping to too many conclusions, because I've seen a lot of speculation, a lot of like theory crafting going around with this, but there are a lot of red flags. You know, like it's apparent, we know it, and it's I just wish that they were a little bit more transparent about this. Like, yes, they
Yeah.
have some like defined plans, but it doesn't seem like it's enough.
Look at this. So I'm loving these
I-
comments, guys. Hold on. Can I the core? No, not that. Not that. Who knows?
What's up?
With crafting, the devs haven't laid out the plan yet. Their communications. Okay, not that. Why should the
communication
pores
lacking.
get to look cool too? Yeah, that right. Why should the
Yeah.
peasants get to look cool? You can only have
fun,
cool
though, right?
stuff if you buy it with real money, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
You want to Sangar? Pay up.
This-
Otherwise, you can get stuck with
Alright.
the Morozov, looking like a fucking
sorry. Go ahead.
peasant.
Yeah, sorry, Dad. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. What's the relationships between this channel and Griefernet? They've been guests on our channel a couple times. There you go.
Did somebody ask that?
Yeah, somebody asked that.
Yeah.
What's the relationship between this channel and Griefernet? Griefernet is totally separate org. They have nothing to do with us.
They're an org. They have their own like agenda.
Yeah, this
We
is
just
a
like to talk
it's a
about PvP.
podcast, and we're called Griefers Pub. And the joke is people call PvPers Griefers. That's it. It's just it's literally just a joke. It's
I mean, you can tell it's
Before-
entirely different. You can tell it's entirely different because Dead and Elder are with 388, while Griefernet.
I mean, when we were in
if they were-
Grim
if
42,
they
we were
if they
Griefernet, right?
Griefernet,
Wasn't that
if they were
confirmed?
with Griefernet, it'd be with PAX, wouldn't it?
yeah.
True. That's
Yeah.
true. You got me there.
It's a legitimate
Um,
question. I get it.
So, Arky, was there anything else that you wanted to ask before we take another call? I just want to double check. Don't want to skip over anything. Just because I know we're kind of on a time frame.
Yeah,
tonight that we're trying
and we appreciate you jumping in. By the way.
yeah,
mean,
100%.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing I'd have to say is that the alternative solution is to sell skins instead. So replace all of the gear they've sold with skins, and then
I'd
you
agree.
apply them to the gear you loot. And if it's something
Like you'll have a
the
blueprint.
yeah,
right?
if it's like the Sangar helmet or the Aves, ones where it doesn't have a direct, it doesn't have gear in game. They just take like a similar enough gear, like with the Sangar, you take the Morozov, with the Aves, you take the Dust Up, and then you just
Yeah.
apply that through a loot goblin who just applies the skins to you, and then and then yeah, you can loot that skin, and maybe it's like a rate limited or paid task, so it's 50k AUEC for a full Aves set, or a 3 hours cooldown or something like that. But final words. If CIG wants to go ahead with Tier 0, can we expect cargo insurance so they can just finally fire all the economy guys and save some money? That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
If I kill Peter,
little-
Peter Griffin in Fortnite, I can't steal his skin. I think it's a bit different. It's funny though. Checkmate. That's a good one. I like that.
all right. For
Alright.
cargo insurance, believe it or not, do not. That is how. I mean, never mind. We're already at that point. We don't have to worry about it. yeah, I was going to say if there's anything else that you're feeling like you want to add,
That's it. That's it.
that's it. No problem. Just don't want to cut you off or anything. So thanks
Yeah.
again, Arky, for your time. I know it's late there, and do appreciate your insight.
See you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you,
See ya.
Arky. All right, so just to
so-
throw it out there, obviously I'm very salty. I think I'm just like
Salty Relic? Is that the
yeah,
name now?
salty
right?
relic. Yeah, I'm just so it's like as time goes on, it's like I don't see them really sticking true to half of the things they say. It's
Yeah.
pretty
Well, I
it's pretty
think that is-
discouraging.
I think it's pretty telling in the community. The longer you are around, the more jaded you become,
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't blame people. I've been here for a long time too. And there's a lot of things that, like I love playing the game, but there's things about the company that just rub me off the wrong way. 100%,
Yeah.
So,
It's
hey, so trying to get
yeah.
back on track here. Sorry.
Yeah,
do you,
please.
how will the lack of risks and consequences change player behavior in PvP situations? I kind of answered that one already. No one's
yeah,
gonna
they
care.
get careless. Yeah, they get careless. There's no risk, right? And what that does also, and CIG will realize this eventually, but what that does is it also removes longevity for the player base. So if the player base is able to get things easily, is easily accessible, it's something that you can maintain, it doesn't have much value, right?
This is actually a really good question here. Drax says, if they are going to with tier 0, why even have ship claim timers? If
No, yeah,
you can
why?
have your railgun instantly, why shouldn't I have my A2 instantly?
Yeah.
Fair point. Like,
It
really?
doesn't so it's like one is trying to follow the sense of maybe realism or something, a delivery time or whatever it may be, and then the other
Yeah.
isn't. So it's very inconsistent. This makes me think of what's her name there? Oh my goodness. Why do I always forget her name lately? She does the like role play with the FOIP. Face over IP.
Expat?
Yeah, expat. Sorry, thank you. Expat, yes.
Yep,
So
expat.
expat, she was going off about the localized inventory going to like the storage containers and like how that's unrealistic, and it was like go one way or the other, right? It just doesn't. There's no consistency in what the vision is anymore. It's just like all these weird random moves. And then it's like, but then we're going to follow, which is a game, which creates game breaking bugs, by the way. We're going to follow this sense of like persistence in a game that's persistently inconsistent. Does that make sense? You see what I'm saying? Like, why are we going to persist stupid things like bottles, but we're not going to persist?
Consistently fucking it up is what Tumble says. And I do agree.
What do you say? They're consistently fucking it up there. Yeah, I mean, I think so. And
at least they're consistent there. Yeah.
And I always use the argument like in Elite Dangerous, where it's like I had to put so much time and effort into building my ship, right? That when it was done, it was one of the reasons why it was so hard to even let the game go, because it felt like it was mine. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to put so much effort into it. There was a sense of pride behind it.
100%. You don't get that with Star.
No. I understand it's hard to create that in a game that's just so incomplete, but at this point, it's like, when are things gonna actually start fitting together? At this point, we're not only being able. Oh my goodness! Wow, that moved fast.
Oh, Calamity's in the waiting room. Can I drag him in?
Oh, he's back in. Cool? Yeah, sure. And I'm gonna read this while you pull him in. The disappointment not only being able to loot the crews from the opponent's body is persistent. Right? Well, thank God I was thirsty. Right? Imagine that.
42. He had 42 crews on him. I'm never gonna
So why have things like, that's a good point too. Why have things like you die of thirst after like 3 hours of gameplay? Like, what is that? How does that make sense? Yeah. What's going on, Calamity?
Calamity, how you doing? Good to see you. Welcome in.
I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you guys?
Pretty good. You're kind of cutting out there. Just 1 second.
Pretty salty.
There we go. Pretty salty. I think everybody's kind of feeling it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you guys. 100%.
Yeah. I'm trying to like come at it from like a constructive standpoint, but at the same time, it's tough when it's just like it's such a like step backwards from like, what we're getting used to, and then seeing this complete like 180, like, hey, keep everything, and there's like no risk, no reward. There's no reason to fucking play at that point,
Yeah.
But what were you gonna
Like-
what were you gonna ask? Sorry about the rant.
Well, it's just it. You know, I don't think anybody would have a problem with this system if you just were able to loot people, like
Yeah.
everything, instead of just like you can't loot their suits or like their weapon or something like that. Because this completely ruins CZs. Like if you think about it,
Yeah.
so you can't like be a little white suit with a shotgun in a corner anymore and just wait for a geared dude with like the security code red card and just like pop out and shoot him and take his loot and his gear and then be fully kitted anymore. It doesn't work no more. So
No.
like, that's dead. And then
That's sorry. My apologies. That is one of those like gameplay loops that is going to be, I think, the most impacted is the CZs. So
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Like what's like see that's another thing. It's like you go through CZ and you it's supposed to be a PvP PvE area, right? PvPvE area. Where's the sense of accomplishment where if you or what's like the reward? Like I know like armor really is not a big deal to me. I'm not like over here like, oh, I need my good armor. It was more like the sense of like I get to wear the armor of the person like through victory. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
where is that in like CZ? Like you come out of CZ with better armor than you started off with. Well, getting it from from the AI really doesn't feel like that big of a deal personally.
it's not as satisfying by any means.
Yeah, it's
I
not.
agree.
It really
you
isn't.
actually feel like you're challenged by, doing PvP, even though yes, it is broken and desynced as it is. You still made that accomplishment, and it should be yours. And taking that away just feels shitty, 100%.
Yeah.
it's nothing like killing somebody and getting a free ripper from them. You know?
Quit your winning says guns and attachments are.
Oh, Tumblrino's also in the thing.
I saw Tumblr.
Yeah, I guns and attachments are what? Lootable? What you could
You can take those off.
I
Oh, the
know.
guns.
I'm not sure.
I think if it's attached to the gun, I don't think you can loot it.
I'm not sure.
Jeez.
I would have to double check that. I haven't played 4.1. Unfortunately, I wish I had a chance, but
yeah, it sounds
I don't sub
unbelievably
anymore.
awkward.
I don't sub
But
anymore
I
for
did
this
hear
game.
that
So.
the Duke Jesus, Captain Foxy Loxy, was able to steal somebody's kit still.
So maybe,
Wow,
maybe
imagine
we'll have
that. Imagine a world where being able to loot the body is a bug. is that's what's
Right?
happening? And then people make a joke,
So,
it's a feature. That's
No.
hilarious.
apparently, what they've tried to do is like to stop duping, right? With the striver gear and stored gear and stuff like that. But what Captain
Yeah.
Foxy Loxy found out is if you claim everything, put everything on the system, but you don't put the undersuit, when you just take the undersuit, it takes everything with it. So like you just still get the kit. And I'm like, oh wow, that's definitely preventing duping. Yep, that's working 100%.
Nope.
So honestly, I don't get why they're trying to prevent duping. And another thing too said not only trying to prevent duping, they were like also like, oh, this is also to prevent pay to win or something like that. Not being able to loot from people. But
I mean,
this
yeah,
game is inherently pay to win. I mean,
for the
Super
most part, it
Hornet,
really is. Yeah.
Ghost,
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's kind of like you're playing the wrong game and you don't think this game is pay to win, honestly.
I personally, I feel like it's like, why stop trying to like provide lip service to different groups and just do what you want to do. If they're planning or they have the intention of actually turning it into a PvE MMO, just fucking do it. Like stop. You know what I mean? Like make a decision at this point. If people want their safe space, give it to them. Whatever. I don't know. I'm not a fan.
Like they're really trying to figure out which way they want to go from space sim to like space trucker simulator to now MMO, all rounder MMO. And
Yeah,
now they're
I mean-
kind of going into go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, if the complaining was an issue, I don't think I think year after year they still have been meeting their financial goals. So all this like crying about how I'll never play again and all this, yes, you will. Stop your crying. Like all
Yeah,
this
just-
nonsense, like it's not affecting the income of the game. It still continues to be successful and continue charging forward, even with its terrible performance and its game breaking bugs, the terrible elevator system that was absolutely unnecessary, the persistent freaking cruise locks. But people keep playing. Yeah, so
There's got to
you
be
know,
some pros to this though, like items purchased on the Play Store returned after death. Hey, that's great. Players can get right back into the action with their loadouts. Easy mode, let's go. Players won't lose gear to unexpected bugs as easily. That one I don't mind. And then the best
Yeah.
one, bot maxing can be achieved with limited interruption. There you go.
So things like that are fair.
Okay.
Like players not go ahead. Actually, Calamity, if you have a comment.
I'm sorry.
I mean, honestly,
Feel like I'm-
I agree. I agree with Dead, man. Like, just return, like, make everything lootable. The sub gear, store bought gear, can be returned because you bought it. And that's it. I mean, who cares about duping at this point, man? Literally, even the patch that tried to tell them to fix duping, you can still dupe. So at this point, it's like either they're incompetent or they're kind of just their coding team kind of just sucks. So
I'd
Duping.
go with the first, probably.
Go ahead. Duping will continue to be an issue until the game is actually like complete and all the systems are intact. But they're not going to be able to completely stop duping during this state of the game anyway, realistically. That's the way I see it. I don't see it
I have a
happening.
little bit of conspiracy theory, if you guys want to hear it.
Tinfoil hat time. That's what I'm hearing.
So honestly, the Citizen Con, ship sales, stuff like that, is meant to make you buy ships and invest into the game. But all your money, I believe, is actually going to Squadron 42 because which game is getting released sooner? And how long has Star Citizen been in production, and working? It's like 2026, right? Is Squadron 42?
I'm pretty sure its development has been longer than my son's been alive.
And it's like 15. I don't know. I'm still new to the community in like 6 months. Well, 7 months now. So like 14 years in development for Star Citizen.
Yeah, is it? It's about 14 years. I think it is.
Roughly, yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah, and then development for Squadron 42 is like almost ended here. 2026 is the release date. So I think all the money, all the hype, and all the money has been going to Squadron 42 instead of going to Star Citizen. That's why development in Star Citizen is only started. Let's add the Valacar. Let's add brand new NPC before the Merchantman. Let's let's what you call it make more systems and stuff like that for more MMOE and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's kind of fishy. Kind of smells kind of fishy.
Just 2 more boys. 2 more years, boys. 2016 is looking bright.
2 more years. I heard that's the meme.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Just
Was
2
there?
more years.
Did you have any other comments before we pull Tumblerino in?
Yeah, man. I got one more. Okay, and nobody's talking about it. Well, nobody really talking about it. Not even Salty Mike stream. His thing. Death tax, man. What is up with that? What's up with the death tax?
We don't have enough information about it, so I'm not gonna tinfoil hat that one yet. If that's okay. That's just my personal take on it.
Yeah, but what I've seen, it's 5% of your total income, of your total money is deducted every time you die. Now I have more people complaining about that to me than the item recovery. That's like game killing. Yeah, no, a lot of people don't want to pay 5% every time you die. That's
okay, so there's a couple of things here that brings to mind though. First of all, I'm not against a death tax because I would imagine in a futuristic society where you are genetically cloned every time you die with some genetic maybe what do you call it, like degradation, right? these large companies, where it is you decide you want to be cloned at, would probably charge you, first of all. Second of all, I think one of the solutions to respawning would, let's say you have a respawn bed on a ship, there should be actual material required to respawn, biological material required to respawn your body, right? Which means there would be a limit. That would solve the issue of respawning with all your items on it. Like, where is, like, what is it that's creating your body when you respawn? You see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like
Yeah.
that would make sense also. But I'm not against any type of respawn tax. It makes sense to me. If you're looking at like
I think putting a tax on it is fine, but 5% is like crazy. Because like if you have 50 mil, then 2.5 mil is getting deducted from you like every. Well, it's getting lower and lower, but like
Nobody
you're
said
gonna
that
be-
there's free health insurance in space, right? So
Yeah.
there you go.
True.
Yes,
true.
but what's 5% of 10 AUEC? Right?
That's
Yeah.
why I have.
Yep.
That's why I saw a forum, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you know, the perfect way to get money for nothing: buy a $45 bankroll to send all your money to it." And that's what. That way, even if you die, you can't tax the homeless, the poor.
So the reason
Yeah.
I don't want to touch too much on this topic because I want to have more confirmation from CIG before it's just a speculation episode, because I can go to the kitchen right now and grab some tinfoil, but we don't have enough time for that. So we just talk
Gotcha.
about like kind of what we got here, and then once we get more info, I do want to cover that at some point. You know?
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, I want to read this comment real quick by Quit Your
Yeah.
Whining. In my
Your
opinion, a
Whining.
death tax should be a flat rate, which I kind of agree with. Cost. If you have
Exactly.
no money to pay for it, you have the chance to ask Global for donations. I don't necessarily agree with that portion of it. And or you
already
can go
have
into
that. You
debt.
don't want to encourage
I
that.
like this. Yeah, I like this. So, or you can go into debt and have to do specialized missions to pay off the regeneration. I like that. Personally, these missions should be corpse collecting and pleasure. Maybe I don't know if she's trolling.
Pleasure,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Just
maybe
let me
that.
loose is what Tumble is trying to get us in there. He wants to
All right, this is getting into a troll. Pyro is cheap because you might get an extra toe or be missing half a lung on regen. An extra toe. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Mhm.
Pleasure sounds good though. For me.
Yeah.
Yeah, flat
That's
rate
it, guys.
actually I wouldn't like disagree with, but I don't know.
Let's
We're probably still too early for that kind of thing. You know,
yeah. Let's pull Tumblerino in.
we'll do. Thanks again,
right.
Calamity, for joining us with the
Yeah,
call.
Calamity, you're always
Appreciate your time.
welcome.
No problem,
Yeah.
man.
Week
Mhm.
after week, you're always welcome, my friend.
Later, guys.
Later, buddy.
Later, bud. All right. Did I regret
Hello.
pulling him in here?
Yo,
No, not for a
what's up, guys?
moment.
Can you
What's
hear
up,
me well?
Dumble? I can hear you just fine. How you doing, dude?
Okay, perfect. How is everyone? How are you guys doing?
Good.
Pretty good.
How you doing?
How are you?
Glad to hear it. Shall I say disappointed, angry, emotional, raging? Shall I keep going?
You should keep going,
Um,
actually. I'm interested.
Yeah. No. Like, be transparent. Like,
Um,
what exactly is your take on this?
So, first and foremost, regarding the death tax, it's
Yep.
a load of crap. Because it's another marketing bullshit by CIG, which is incentivizes buying alt accounts.
Yeah.
That's the first and foremost. Nightbird actually did an amazing post in Spectrum detailing an alternative to the system, which is
Mhm.
you get taxed in regarding to the where you set your spawn in. Grimax stations and all that, you get heavily taxed for that. But if you set an hospital in a planet, for example, like Orison or Lorbia or whatever, you don't get that tax, for example. So people are penalized with time if they have to respend in one of those hospitals. Instead
Yeah.
of like having
By any
the best
chance, do you
respawn on the
have
station.
a link for this post? I kind of want to check it out if we have time.
Yeah, I do. I gotta go search it, but I should have it.
No problem.
I'll link it up to you. I'll link it up to you as soon as I can.
Yeah, no rush. But I'm not trying to like
So-
completely change the topic here.
Okay,
obviously.
there we go. There we go. Got it. Let me post it. I'll post it in chat.
If it doesn't go through, let me know, and you can post it in the pub too, in the Discord. Yeah, it's not going to post through. Sorry about that.
Okay, you want me to send the DM with it or
You should
on
be able to
page?
send it in DM. Hang on, I'm gonna fix something really quick.
I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll
Post
do it.
now.
Another good point. They need
Okay,
organic
try to-
material to regenerate a body. So where are these tons of corpses these days? Clutcher. It's a good point.
Okay, give me a second. I'll bring it up.
The
So,
But yeah,
problem
you were
is-
saying. I'm sorry to interrupt anything you had.
Dead Frag's made of puppies and rainbows, though, so somebody would have to be going out and collecting puppies. John Wick don't approve.
You should have posting abilities for like links and all this sort now. So just keep
Yeah,
it in.
I'll post it for the rest of the guys if they want to follow it up.
Yep,
Even though you
I'll
have
actually
it on
post it
stream
as well.
Okay.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So, there is while you go over it. Actually, I'll leave it a little bit so you can go over the post and see what you think about it. But basically, I don't agree with the death tax. What happens to a player when they're poor? Why doesn't it not incentivize all the counts? And other people don't like it as well because the more money you have, the more heavily taxed you are for a death.
Yeah.
So what just stops you from sending all your money to another alt account, just leaving you like $500,000 in your account, which is enough for you to
Mhm.
buy whatever you need and get less penalized for it.
What if you suddenly were hunted down by like debt collectors if you didn't pay your, medical dues and you just had like bounty hunters after your ass just because of that reason?
Because
I don't know.
I one of the problems with that is the new players.
Yeah, true. They're gonna die a lot.
if the game doesn't hold your end for the most of the
Yeah.
time, if you heavily penalize them for those kind of mistakes, then they're going to be discouraged from playing. And you want to encourage them from playing.
Yeah.
Best
Yeah.
way to do it, just send them to a planet. There you go. I even said, we discussed. I discussed this with Cut, and we refine it even further to have the major hospitals instead of being Stanton, like it being in secure systems such as Terra and whatnot, for example. You
Yeah.
respawn there for free, and you know systems you don't lose your gear. Medium systems, you respawn with a fee, and you get your UEC back instead of the armor and weapons you've insured. You go to null-sec systems or low-sec systems such as Pyro, get fucked. Insurance doesn't cover you. You're fucked.
My man, I agree with that. I like that. That makes way more fucking sense.
Wow,
so
wait a minute.
their
Hold
idea-
on, Tumblerino. I don't know if you're trying to get a job within CIG, but if you keep coming up with these logical ideas, you won't ever get the job.
So let me put it this way. If I wanted to work in the dumpster, I would just go myself get a job as disposal garbage.
Okay.
Sorry,
Oh,
I had to
shoot.
do that.
Mhm.
I said I'm emotional.
Do you guys mind if I read this really quick? It says pay to respawn depending on location instead of death tax. Idea there is a price for each respawn depending on location at major hospitals in Stanton. It is free. At other stations in Stanton, it is low. At Grimhex, it is medium. In Pyro, it is high. I'm not defining low, medium, or high. They can be tweaked. If you run out of money to your spawn at your selected location, you get sent to a major hospital in Stanton. The price you pay becomes time to travel back.
Wait,
Actually-
it says one of them's free, though? Is that what it said?
Yeah,
I feel like
station on the main planets.
I feel like you need to put it under your beanie. It looks like. I feel like
Mhm.
it should always cost money, right? And I feel like it should also play into that whole concept where there's like, where there's a loss in attributes, things you basically, I guess, leveled up, for lack of a better
Mhm.
term. And if you don't have the money to respawn, there's either a certain amount of debt you can go into up until the point where you no longer can exceed that debt, and then there's a complete loss
Yeah.
of the character, and it's
That's why
restart.
that's why I said with the whole secure systems, because if you don't have the money, you get put back into those secure systems.
Oh,
That
okay,
makes
yeah.
And you don't get charged. So it gives you the possibility of being in a secure system to make money back to get you back on your feet, and then venture out into the world.
Yeah. And that will also, just so you know, for those Bob type players, that would also discourage people like Grievanat that you hate so much from doing things like just ramming into large ships to destroy them, or putting himself into risk if there was like this, if there was some sort of risk, maybe not a whole lot, I guess it depends, right? But if it was like, oh, I don't know, maybe I gotta reconsider that. There's got to be a way to reduce that, but in general, I mean, I don't think any of that will actually happen where there'll be a complete loss, because I think people are going to complain about it. And you'll hear stories on Spectrum about, I spend 70 hours a day working. Obviously an exaggeration, but so I spent 70 hours a week working. I only have so many hours to play in a week, and to come in and lose all my attributes after all the work I put in is not fair, and it needs to be changed. It's always possible that, it's just going to get completely watered down. I think they'll end up going that way too, because in marketing will be like, well, we need to sell more. Oh God, I'm so salty.
No. But you're right
Can I
in that
post the
assessment.
video? DM it to me, Heavy Bob. We'll check it out.
So
Do you want to
here's-
go over?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go for it. Tumble, you say it. You're the caller.
No,
Sorry to
no.
cut
Go
you
ahead,
off.
Frag. No. Go ahead, Frag.
I was going to say, do you want to go over the cons really quick? This is kind of what I proposed as like some of the issues that it comes along with the whole implementation of Tier 0. Maybe there's a few things I'm missing here. It's not like a complete and well thought out list, just a few things. So items being purchased in game are returned after death. I think that's garbage. It promotes lazy Zerg rush tactics in PvP and PvE environments.
Yeah.
So no matter what, like it's just outlasting your opponent at that point. Running in with whatever gun you have on your back and then just spamming, no skill, no worries about death.
Promotes ramming, promotes suicide tactics, promotes exploitation of game mechanics.
Agreed.
A lot of the cons are all that. I think you're gonna run out of screen before you.
I already did. I did it. It was too big at the bottom.
That's what I'm saying. Like it might be better for you to enumerate the pros. Then you'll just have a few lines.
Here's what I did. So yes, you can get your item purchased on Pledge Store after returned after death. Hey, that's cool. I understand that one. Players can get right back into the action with loadouts. Players won't lose gear to unexpected bugs as easily. That one's not too bad. And then Bob maxing can be achieved with limited interruptions. So, there's a few positives.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
No, there are a few positives. There are the positives of maintaining game flow, minimizing time waste on re-equipment, getting gear, dealing with inventory issues, all that. There are pros, but the cons are heavily outweigh them. And the cons are there because of faults on the game design, for example.
Yeah.
They're solving a problem that's created by CNG in the first place, so that's not solving any issue.
Yeah. They're creating problems and they're trying to solve the problems they created. And I gotta say too, it just feels like they're trying to solve the problems by maxing profit, though.
Yeah,
I guess.
So here's one of the
Make it into a short. Let me read this to you. The quality of support. So I just made a post, but I figured I'd go ahead and make it into a short. Let me.
So. Actually, let's just watch the video then.
The quality of support I have received recently
I was just watching this.
Cloud Imperium Games Help Desk
This is
has been very much
kind of
improved.
You're talking over it
through the prior year.
Is it like
I can hear it, but
I thought I had it muted. Apparently not. I'm gonna stop it. That was my bad.
I'm willing to listen to it. You're playing it while he's talking, and then you played it while you're talking. Now you're playing it while I'm talking.
Unless it is an
okay, I'll just reset it. My fucking
So I
bad.
just made a post, but I figured I'd go ahead and make it into a short. Let me read this to you. The quality of support I have received recently by Cloud Imperium Games Help Desk has been very much improved over the experiences through the prior year or more. The issue I have now is being turned off from playing by constantly having to be on guard for PvP grief. I am not a PvPer unless it is an org operation or something like that. Finding myself being the target of other human players who get their fun from violating me and destroying my time, effort, and rewards. Well, I'm certain you can see that I won't be
violating my
involved
rights
with a game
as a
that
citizen.
constantly does that to me. The solution is to open up another persistent universe branch that is PvE, even in Pyro.
This is the video, by the way, that I commented on it. I said first time with a question mark and then just left at that.
Let the threat come from your non-player AI. When I initially backed 8 years ago, it seemed as though a true PvE option was possible and being discussed but currently shelved. I feel now as though I rolled the dice and may have lost. I will not play Star Citizen if it leaves me feeling negative through being victimized by other players. CIG dedicated how much money, time,
Says somebody who
etc.,
keeps
into
playing.
building entire space
Mhm.
systems just
Don't
for
let the door hit you on
PvE
the way
content.
out.
Why not open the entire game to a much broader player base and community? Please give us a PvE server break.
You know, there is
So
a.
just make
I really want to just talk to this guy and be like, hey, there is a way you can screen capture this as a video, and then you don't have to like hold it up like this and then capture it like that. It's
Bro,
kinda
that
like
kind of
doing the tech right there.
motherfucker is the one that when you talk about bugs, he starts looking for them on the ground regarding Star Citizen.
Too true. Yeah, I'm sorry if I cut off anything. I kind of like lost entire track there. So if there was something that you were saying, that's my bad.
It's so good. It's so good. Like this kind of treasures can't be discarded. They need to be put out just to put. Those are the myth between the fat girl and the pretty girl, that you need to have a fat girl next to you to feel like you're pretty. Those guys put everyone else feeling intelligence because by contrast they're stupid. So they need to exist.
I know. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
just so you know, Dad does this podcast with me because I'm the fat girl.
I mean, I wasn't gonna say anything, but
Yeah, I was gonna say.
No comments. But if you want to out yourself, that's fine. Do what you need to.
All right. Well, this is the last show, everyone, because we're gonna get canceled. All right. Anyway, whatever. He goes. Oh.
But so
It was a good run,
bit
guys.
of a, yeah. But here's a little bit of a controversial theory that I was going to talk to you earlier.
Yeah.
So let's look at the red flags that we've been seeing recently, right?
Yep.
We've been the game being more arcadey. We've seen the increase of TTK. We've seen master modes. We've seen the inventory bullshit. Now we're seeing this tier 0 thing. We also have seen insurance in Citizen Con not being exactly what we wanted, and even base building seeming like this whole arcadey thing coming out of Sims. They try to cater to both audiences. They try to catering to the PvE audience, the guys that want Elite Dangerous 2.0, and they try to catering to the other audience, which wants EVE 2.0. Right now, those are the guys, the two communities we have, and we have overlapping people, like people that overlap between the two groups. But majorly, those are the two groups that currently exist. We're coming to a head. CIG needs to make a choice because right now they're leading in both one side and another. They're trying to please both of them, but they have to pick one side, and they're starting to pick a side here. They're
Yeah.
picking the side of Elite Dangerous
That's
2.0.
true. Yeah.
We've seen this for the
Yeah.
last year
Mhm.
up until now, and like I said in chat, and I'll say it again, the red flags are there. Right now, if we keep backing up CIG, it's on us because they're not misleading us anymore. They're clear on their intents.
Mhm.
It shows what they're doing. We see what they're doing. And
I'm not
it's-
back.
if
I
we
mean, I'm
back-
not backing him. I'm not spending a damn dime on him.
Yeah.
At all. I haven't in the last year and a half. I think it's been about a year and a half. I haven't spent any extra money. Nothing I've already spent. I mean, nothing but what I've already spent.
And
Yeah.
here's another problem that I'll leave you a little bit of food for thought. Financially wise, I believe CIG is not in a good spot. Now, I'm not an economist. I have a little bit of information from the inside, but I usually keep that restricted. But all the information I'm going to give you right now, it's a little bit of mix between both of them, both inside and from what I observed. So we've seen QA being fired. We've seen major executives leaving. We've seen people leaving the company, people being fired. We've seen cuts. We've seen them promoting more and more store gameplay. Let's just say we've seen the F7, we've seen the F8. We've seen them do every little bit of cash grabbing tactic that they could muster. And now we're coming this to the tiers as well. To the tier 0 bullshit, which just promotes more swiping on the store for those sweet armors, more income for them. The insurance also canceling out LTI. As long as you bought the ship in store, you're never gonna lose it. So LTI is pretty much a joke right now. It's a joke. So everything you buy, you always own. And I've recently learned that they're having problems with their server accounts as well. So I'm pretty sure that CIG is rushing development 1.0 not because they want, not because they feel ready for it. And right now, they're scrounging for a little bit of money. And we're missing half the mechanics we were promised.
Yeah.
Where's repair?
I think
Where's exploration?
if I can interject though, I think part of the problem with the money situation would be that they made the mistake of thinking that bigger is better as far as like staff size. So they picked quantity over quality and poor management over in quantity. You know what I mean? Poor management in quantity. That's what it feels like. And I'll use Hello Games as an example. No Man's Sky has continued to improve with a very small studio, a very small amount of people. And I know it's not necessarily my type of game. But they've done nothing but continue to make their game better and better, and they have a very small staff. So I think what Star Citizen did was went the wrong direction. They were like, "Oh, we need more people to throw more people at this," and when there's not good organization, then things turn out the way they have been. Yes, they're trying to create these new technologies and persistence and all this, but they're doing it, and I think personally in a sloppy way, and it's just throwing bodies at it. That's what I think it has to do with. They could have saved a lot of money and focused more on quality employees instead of quantity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I may, there's also the major problem, which I think was also a major factor in this, which is the marketing department making gameplay decisions.
Yeah, they do.
This fucks up everything. Creating ships, creating a problem, and then creating ships to solve that problem is the biggest joke I've ever seen in a game.
Well, consider this, right? The Banu Merchantman. What's the reason for completing that now that the sales are already complete? You know what I mean? Like it's more effort. Oh, damn, you rated it. Thank you for the raid. Appreciate it, Ark. They put in all this effort and they made the sales, right? And then they're able to move on to something else and not actually put in the development into building the ship, because what's the point? They're probably only going to get so much more money out of it anyway. I think that's like a marketing thing.
They make more money selling dreams, hopes, and ideas than selling an actual product.
Yeah.
But
Well,
people can only get misled for a certain amount of time. And here's the kicker. They've announced 1.0 thinking they would increase their player concurrency to brought more people in because, oh shit, the game's going to go live soon.
Yeah.
It did the exact opposite. People saw 1.0 and said, good, I don't need to put any more money into the game because it's going to get released soon. So it did the exact opposite of what they were expecting. It fucking killed hunting for them. And now they're just trying to swim back into the shallow water.
Yeah.
Again, this is a little bit of theory for me. That's the problem.
Well, why build this like ginormous studio and all this nonsense and move all this? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, to me, it just feels like a lot of the financial decisions have just pushed in the wrong direction. So
everything is being pushed on the wrong direction. They've got
vanity, exactly.
They've overbloated. They've been on. And here's the thing, this model has proven not to work. But here's another problem. Even in DCS, this is a problem. Even in DCS, which has a similar problem to Star Citizen, it depends on selling them constantly new models. Updating the old models does not give them cash, so they keep putting new models and leaving the old ones incomplete. Look at Star Citizen, exact same thing. New loops, new ships, new things, the old ones never get completed. We're stuck
Yeah.
at tier 0, tier 1 forever
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's not financially viable for them. There's no reason to like even look even this whole event, right? Did you guys play Frag? I know you've played it, but Elder, did you play it?
What, this newest event?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know what I completed at this point though. No.
no.
What event are we on? Hold on, what are we talking about? Did I miss one?
The cargo bullshit. This cargo bullshit.
Oh,
I'm pretty
yeah,
sure,
technically,
I know Frag
yeah.
was pirating
The
people.
hauling one, yeah.
Yeah.
I know,
Okay.
I know Frag was pirating people. I don't know if you were.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I
if,
did
if by
pirate,
like snaring
yeah.
people you mean like participating, sure. You know.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
what we did.
fair enough. All right, fair enough.
Mhm.
And it's during this gold rush that our kind of gameplay loop comes alive, and we feel like there's a reason to log into the game.
Yeah.
You even get
Mm.
Crucial over time. You have no reason to do any kind of loops. What's your reason
True.
to go mine? What's your reason to go and salvage? What's your reason to do anything else other than fucking stealing cargo from other people?
Yeah.
You don't get to enjoy the other part of the gameplay loop because there's no connection.
Yeah, I mean we're waiting for the more in-depth stuff. And it's been this consistent waiting.
Yeah,
And that's all it is. I
I
mean, yeah. 3 years later, that's an understatement. I wish it was 3 years.
I wish.
No,
I'm kidding.
No. People thought so. The sentiment was they're going to back this is going to come out in a few years. We back this; it's going to come out for my grandchildren. We back this; it's probably going to go back up in a few years. That's pretty much what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's it. We're in the business. Siege into the business of hopes and dreams and fantasies and lollipops and rainbows, and we're pretty much done. We're done over the money moon. So I'm pretty much over it for my
Yeah.
part. So I don't know about you guys.
I think a lot
not-
are. I think a lot are. I think a
I
lot of
didn't say-
it's fading. I don't know. The excitement, it's hard to be super excited about it because yeah, they come out with Sitcon and they tell us about they're very good at delivering it, right? All this cool stuff. Like in-game org mechanics. Like that sounds great. And it is exciting. But when is it actually gonna happen? Is the question.
Everything's so bad. Even the parts where we have fun in the game, everything goes to shit. So, for example, today we had a fight of 8 hours straight against Turbos. 8 hours. There's like this little consequence of people just coming back and cycle through their fucking anger for 8 hours straight. There's fights, and we fight it. In the inter-org communications, 0. Social, 0. Server goes to shit, no social, 0 conversation. Party markers break, 0. Quantum drive with all people next to you, 0. Doesn't work. What else? Server in a major fight where there's more than 20 people fighting, FPS server goes to 5 or less.
Yeah, jeez.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even the
was-
part that's organic and we have fun, it goes to shit.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry,
it does have the structure to be like the greatest FPS game and space flight game, and like everything could come together very well. But yeah, exactly. Contagion soon. TM. You know, was there any other?
It type properly. It needs to be like this because this would make Chris Roberts proud. There we go. You need to do it properly, dude.
Yeah. And I think it was it might have been Bob that said it. There needs to be some cohesion and vision, and there isn't.
Cohesive vision.
Yeah.
There is cohesion. Their cohesion is that they're united in fucking up the game.
Yeah.
There's consistency there too.
True.
There's
Yep.
consistency. Now, I kind of want to see what the flight model 2.2 is going to be. We've already seen atmospheric flight being introduced with the movement of the air surfaces, the control surfaces, such as flaps, such as ailerons. They move, and I'm pretty sure that shows that they're close to it.
Yep.
I want to see how that goes. Because if it's more exciting fighting in planets, awesome, perfect. But this is Yogi's chance to redeem it. Yogi is now in full control of the flight model development. I want to see what it does with it. If it goes to shit, very quick pitch work.
It might lose me with the flight model because the
Yeah.
flight model, if the flight model becomes this very like complex thing where maneuvering plays into it, understanding of what I do in that maneuver and how I can get a one up on somebody. Where like if the flight model becomes a complex, enjoyable thing again, that will be its saving grace for me, because I can accept a lot of this other stuff. Because I do enjoy certain aspects of like PvE games, stuff like that. Like I don't play only PvP, right? Like I do enjoy certain aspects of video games in general. Um, but like I don't know, like I need something that's like very in depth. And before that used to be kind of the flight model for me. Now it's like I go in and I'm like, oh, okay, so I guess I'll, you know, maneuver. I'll
No,
keep them in front of me and I'll maneuver and spin this way to try to throw off the ram a little bit.
no,
Like the whole thing just man.
in the flight model itself, I'm not gonna comment. This is a beat horse.
Yeah.
Everyone has their opinions, and I keep to my own. What I'm talking about more is
Sure.
the surface flight, the control surface flight,
Yeah.
because that's where they have a chance to redeem themselves. Oh, the flight model's already burned. I have no hopes for that. that's burned in the
Yeah.
ground already. What I want to see is how the atmospheric flight is going to behave, and if that's going to be fun or not. Because first, no more hovering. There's actually things for dropships to do, and there's
Yeah.
actually a use for the vehicles as well.
Yeah.
No more hovering and shooting people on the ground. That's gone. And second, out maneuvering in the atmo feels that you have no side strafes
Yeah.
or hover.
Yeah.
I want to
Are
see
we
how it goes.
confirming
I'm interested.
that hover mode is coming back?
So what Yogi said is that side strafes up and down are
Mhm.
also gone. It's only pitch movement and roll.
Okay.
Unless you go into landing. Now, how that's going to work, if it's another mode, I can't tell you. I don't know. This is the only thing from info I know.
Yeah,
That's
but
it.
Tablerino, like why this like, oh, let's I'm not saying not to do it, but it's like when I look at something like controlled surfaces or whatever, why do something that's meant to like promote realism in a game that's continuously becoming unrealistic?
Because it's needed.
Yeah,
In
I
that regard,
guess, but
needed.
it doesn't make any fucking sense. There's no consistency in any part of the game anymore.
Well,
It like,
There's not. There's not.
you know,
There's not. But the Yogi's now in charge with the control surfaces and all that shit, right? And he wants to put some realism into the game. He's fighting against the losing fight, but he's fighting it, and that for that I give him credit, because he wants to put that into the game and actually
yeah.
have some realism into it.
Well, can we get realism across all flight then? Like, why does it have to be in only atmosphere there's realism? Why can't it? Anyway, okay. I mean, fair enough, though. It could be a very cool and dynamic thing. I do agree. I'm not against it. I'm not against it. It is very, very weird being in atmosphere. And honestly, it's like, you know, in AC, for example, we always resent ending up on an atmospheric map when that's probably 95% of the time that's where all fight happens in the PU, you know? I do want to see something dynamic there. I really do. So I'm not against it either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
again, this is important. Go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, but there are ships that I feel should capitalize more on um you know, I would say not controlled surfaces, because they're alien ships. Like they should have like a different maybe or something. I don't know. I just, to me it's like a Banu Defender does not have controlled surfaces. Right? I mean, does it? How would it? I don't know. So you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like if it's like a
Doesn't have those
futuristic
control surfaces, it should be restricted to space only then in that regard, you know?
Yeah,
Like that would make
for
more
example.
sense.
For example,
or
I
just
mean,
or just fly like shit in atmosphere in general, I guess.
That's it. That'd
let's
fine
be
with that.
honest.
No.
Let's be honest. Connies have no control surfaces. Valkyries have no control surfaces. Connies have no control surfaces. None of the ships that are not like pretty, like the Arrow / Caladius / Saber, they have no control surfaces. None of them.
Yeah.
So some degree of magic needs to happen in there, and it will happen. You won't see control surface in every single ship, but they're going to be there, like
Yeah.
like the unrealistic components are now. So they will have some characteristics of Atmos fight. How they're going to
Yeah.
do it, I don't know. I don't know. What I know is that Yogi before wasn't in full control of the Master Mode's development. Now he is. So now it's sorely on him, and we're going to be judging. That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, was there anything else that you wanted to add to that, Tumble? I know we're going a little bit like over
No,
time at the
I've
moment,
already,
so just want to
I
double
know
check.
you. No, I know that you, even though you don't have an internet caller, I know that I've extended like far past my time. I rented it
No,
out.
it's fine. You
I
always like.
apologize
So
for you
here's the
guys.
thing, Tumble. You always have like really good like insight when it comes to this stuff. So that's why I like having that little bit of extra talk time because you always have something that's good to say. So
Yeah,
just
it's not
wanted to
about
keep
going
that.
over your time. We're just gonna wrap it up.
Pretty much.
No, you're
I'm
good.
just,
Yeah, we appreciate all you guys, but we appreciate you coming in general. Like, you just very good points. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we'd have to get him as a guest.
So there
Yeah.
was one question from chat I want to cover first. What do you think if you have a grenade launcher as say preset and you go in CZs repeatedly blasting everything? I don't think they thought about that scenario. I mean, we already talked about that. I mean, that's pretty much if you go to the panel, I think I have it up. So it promotes like a railgun grenade launcher meta. So everybody's going to have at least one on the back. Good chance of it. So it's hard to say. And then there was another thing that I was reading here that kind of stuck out to me. Just last thing. Sorry, Elder. I know we're trying to wrap up.
No,
Captain's Table yesterday was real off rails stuff. They said things like griefers are bad at the game and PvE are bad at the game. Thoughts? I'm trying to make sense of that. I don't know. That sounds like a rant. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. If you could like maybe specify a little bit more what that means, or I don't know. Whatever. I'm not gonna worry about it. That's how much thought I'm putting into it. Sorry. I think we're gonna wrap up there. So again, Tumble, thanks for the chat tonight.
no problem.
Appreciate your
Thanks for
time.
having me.
Wait,
Did
were you?
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Tumblerino. Were you reading comments from the chat?
I'm reading comments from the chat. Yeah, there was something that
Yeah, you can.
Lady
Yeah, scroll through a few more before we wrap
City
it up.
Space Patrol had said. There's a lot of comments about Yogi plays a lot of DCS, so I'm hopeful. This is from Infinity Splitter. So I'm hopeful for Atmo, flight, or control surfaces. Fingers crossed. I hate master modes, by the way. Okay, fair enough.
He does play with this, yes, and he enjoys the flight model very, very, very keenly.
Yeah, I think Yogi originally was an audio designer guy, which is kind of I'm not. I've hated on him for it before because it was, but not him, but more specifically like CIG's choice, where it's like somebody who that's not really like their main thing is doing the. It's weird. If he does a good job, though, I don't care. Right. The problem
Yeah.
is I don't know.
I don't know how
we'll
much
see.
control he has
Yeah.
behind that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, he's
Yeah,
got,
I mean,
like,
if
higher
somebody
ups
at my
that
work
he-
was like, "Hey, we need you to do this now, and we're gonna pay you money for it," I'm probably gonna be like, "Okay, I guess I'll do it then." Like, I'm not gonna like fight them and be like, "No, I prefer unemployment." So
I mean, you don't care if your jacket was manufactured in China, you still wear it. Like, you only care if it's good or not. So
yeah, I don't care if it keeps me warm or not, right? I'm like, no, I refuse. I'd rather be outside and die.
yeah, exactly.
All right. That's where we're gonna wrap up, though.
All right.
So I'm gonna cut off questions because we're about 30 minutes late. Have a good night, Tumble. And catch you
Okay, bud.
another time, okay, friend?
Take care. Thank you for having me.
Take care, man.
Of course, man. Thank you. That was like the most awkward thank you ever. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey. So, that being said, I want to thank everybody for joining us for tonight's talks. I know there's a lot we could still cover, but we're gonna wrap it up. This episode will be available on YouTube later this week, so please subscribe, check it out. If you guys haven't checked it out, you can find it at this link. We're also live on YouTube right now, so click the like and subscribe button there, and then follow over here if you would, please. And guys, thanks for the conversations. Thanks for the thought-provoking chats. Is JT safe? Yes, it is now because you don't lose anything. There you go.
That was a very good response. I'll give that to you. That was a good response.
There goes my headphones. So that's me. I gotta get a new pair of these. These are breaking apart. But good luck back in the world.
Yeah, good luck. Wait, hold on. I just want to say white saltine followed as opposed to what other color saltines have you seen? I love ironic names like that. All right, take care, guys.
Have a good night, guys.